All right, we're live. It's Thursday, April something.
Yep.
The days are, let's be honest, they're blending together.
It's a blender, for sure.
And we have a special guest tonight. Our buddy Diviet, many of you know, or Dave at the shop.
Oh, hurrah.
Some of you guys might know him as Congruyen. He's going to be hanging out, and we're going to just... I thought a fun topic might be just talking about our hobby group and kind of the fun, the advantages, and kind of what it's done for us over the years throughout the hobby. What are you guys working on tonight?
I don't know. I'm deciding. Probably painting banshees some more. Continue part 2.
Did you look at the cat? Look back at the banshees. Look at the cat.
I do have the cat here. I might go back to the cat, but debating.
Everyone's very concerned. So
Yeah. I know.
how about you, Dave?
I am working on. I forgot the name of these guys. I feel so bad. The Zonautica Infinity stuff. So.
Oh yes, the guy who turns into a bike and then back into a guy or something.
Oh god! Come on, zoom in. Focus. There we go. So yeah, like the guy rides the motorcycle and then he disembarks, and then the guy on foot somewhere else right now, but then his motorcycle turns into this robot and follows him. Awesome.
It's pretty cool.
So now I'm just working on like the non-metal stuff, so I'm gonna start blending all the stuff up.
So I don't know.
Awesome.
But it's not allowing me, or it says it's not showing me the stream. Well, it seems to be restricted or something.
What's that? Are you're trying to watch it?
It's not. Yeah.
Restricted.
I can see it.
Okay. Well, as long as
That's good. I hope someone can see
then
it.
other people see it. I don't know why. You know what? You guys keep going. I'm gonna just log in and out of Twitch. Try that. Oh, wait, there we go. I don't know what happened.
I'm going to be starting to highlight MODOK here from the Marvel game, and I'm going to try to work on some skin, because I know some people were asking about how to paint flesh or whatever, so I might just work on that on the channel tonight. We'll chat about stuff. So I think it would be fitting if Dave was the one to start talking about having a hobby group, and maybe kind of what it's meant to you, Dave, over the years.
Hold on, I see the video on the stream is looking funny. Better. It's
Whoa,
better.
you're like flipping around. Whoa.
Yeah, I'm flipping it around. Trying to see which way actually.
Dave has more control than I would have given him, you know?
Okay. No, that's not the view.
Oops.
Well, now Jay's getting like,
Yeah,
he's
this
like,
was the
maybe
view,
I
that's
can
right.
do this too.
This is correct. Okay.
No, that's, yeah, you got it right there.
There we go.
There's a lot of like craziness going on. Yeah.
Click, click, click.
Flippy floop, we're all figuring this out.
Yeah, like we're all new to this. Having 3 different people on the stream wasn't actually that hard actually, because we've gone through what to do. So we're using a couple different phone call services to set up.
I'm your tech support.
That's right. I got Dave on the phone.
Yeah.
Dave, how do we get another screen on here?
Science. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. Having a hobby group. I mean, what advantages do I find personally right now? It's a nice way to get together with people who are like-minded, who actually want to like paint. But I don't know. Where'd you want me to start off?
I think maybe at the beginning, like
Oh.
it's a long story, like our hobby group specifically, and maybe
Yeah, okay,
we don't have to
fair.
be super detailed, but I think it might be kind of fun to just kind of and it kind of highlights like why it can be really beneficial to people,
Yeah.
and like just the nature
Well, I
of
think-
yeah. Go ahead.
So I guess for me personally, it was when I was younger, I was always kind of attracted more towards like model railroads, model car building. I like something about like miniatures and toys and whatever stuff in general like that. So when I got to the age that I could actually afford like Gundam kits, or I found out what they actually were, I was trying to coerce some of my friends who were actually kind of interested in that stuff to kind of like do that stuff with me, and kind of in turn towards Warhammer and do that stuff with me as well. So growing up, I had a few friends who would kind of like do some Warhammer. They were kind of into it as much as they were back then. You know, everyone trying to find something new, trying to find what they're interested in as a kid. But it just didn't stick with them as much. It kind of stuck with me, and you know, eventually I was lucky enough to find myself a job at Games Workshop, and not a lot of people did.
At a pretty young
Eventually
age too,
being
right?
one of
Like,
them. I was hired on pretty much basically like 16, so I managed to get like basically like first part-time job for working at Games Workshop, so I was pretty lucky. Um, that's where I met Jay, and then I met you through there as well. But we didn't work together as much because I think I was already like starting to like we were located at what like different stores. I
I
think
think
you were
we
located.
kind of crossed at the, like, you were on your way out, I was on my way in, sort of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I was on my way out, heading to like school or whatever, but you were on your way in. So then I was still a regular at the store at that time. So then I think that's when you got the idea of like, you know, hey, let's start like a hobby club or like a hobby group of like where we could actually like,
Well,
you know,
for me,
run some tournaments or whatever.
if I can interject for a second, for me, I was
Sure.
like, I had just basically discovered for the first time, and probably because I was just kind of finishing up university or whatever, and I had kind of put my hobby on hold for a while, and I was just getting back into it, and I hadn't had anyone to hobby with other than my brother for probably, I don't know, over a decade.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like fully saturated, and I'm like, wow, people do this, and meeting you guys was really awesome. So and I kind of just like, I guess, was like overstimulated and excited,
Hmm.
and the idea of like hanging out with people and painting like blew my mind. I was like, this is like too cool.
That's fair.
It's like something I wouldn't
I-
have like ever done before, I guess, you know.
Which is, I guess, that was an extension of like our own. There were some days at Games Workshop where us or other staff members, like, I know definitely Jay and I, some days we would just stay late and paint or show up early on like a Sunday. Like we don't open till noon, but we'd show up at like 9 or 10 because we're already up at that time anyways. Just either play for a game or just sit down and paint and get some hobby done. And I guess that's kind of what it grew out of as well. Just being around the store, hanging around other people who are like painting. Like really, it was from like the games where I got used to painting around people by the Games Workshop kind of I guess setup where they just kind of like, you know, you bring your models, you sit down, you paint, you meet some other like-minded individuals, and eventually you kind of like clicked with some people, you found your hobby group, and you made friends with them outside of the store.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, and for me, I think that's actually what was so different for me, because up until that point in my life, I had never painted with anybody else.
Hmm.
So it was always like a solo activity,
Hmm.
and then that was like the first time I'd ever like painted around people, and I was like, wow, this is actually a lot of fun.
Yeah, and to Dave's point, I think, yeah, because I can't actually remember how we, what was the like, or like actual origin of I must have just been the painting, at the store, like, and that's something that I think came up when, probably at the beginning of our, well, I worked there for maybe, I don't know, 6 months or whatever when Dave got there. And then we had Ash as our boss. And Ash liked to do that because he liked to just paint. And he liked to
He
run
was
his staff.
Ash was fantastic for teaching us how to paint too, as well. Like
He was,
yeah.
Yeah, he really definitely, for me personally, helped pick me up from like just like, I don't know, very basic painter. Just kind of learned whatever I learned on my own to just being able to like, get stuff done.
Yeah.
For a long time, the metric at which we were like, we measure ourselves or whatever was like, how quick could you do something and still make it look kind of cool, right? So,
Yeah.
but I don't know, he ran the store, or he wanted to like, I don't know, he wanted the staff to be like kind of a team that, you know, not just like on the sales floor, but also like just, I don't know, encouraged us to kind of hang out a little bit and paint. And I think we did anyway because we just got along.
We also had the store projects back then. It's like, hey, look, we got to paint a new store army, so here's how we're gonna do it.
Yeah.
Everyone get on this. You have to do this. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So now you're just like.
So I guess maybe it was some of I would assume, I forget off like realistically, but I assume a lot of our like together painting was our last minute, like, oh crap, our deadline's tomorrow.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I guess it also kind of stems out of a culture that GW kind of was, maybe not all the Games Workshops, but a lot of them had this like hang out and hobby and chat, just this kind of social atmosphere to it. And I think at least like taking that and kind of modeling it around, just like, you know, obviously there's an exclusivity element to it, like, you know, taking it from the Games Workshop and going home with it, but I don't remember who was kind of the first to initiate that, but
well, you had asked about who was interested in actually like getting together painting, and then I think we were just like seeing who could actually like host whatever, and that kind of just like, well, you know, I have an unfinished basement that we can kind of chill out in. And more importantly, I'd already had the fluorescent bulbs in the basement, so it was good lighting. That was the main thing, because the thing that I think anyone has ever felt when they've gone to someone else's house to paint, or to anywhere else to paint, is when the lighting is garbage. When it's like off, like that orangey yellow, like just disgusting. You can't paint in that, or it's just too far away, or it's like you can't do anything. So
the setup, basically, the setup can't be that really difficult. It has to be like you should be able to just sit down and start painting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which with the unfinished basement, it was perfect, and because we weren't really using it much except for other like storage, whatever. So being able to like leave the tables out, leave the hobby supplies out was pretty handy.
Yeah. All I had to do was exactly just kind of mine the space when I got there and try to, you know, not to spill paint everywhere, and then take my, you know, take out food home with me at the end of the night, and that was it. You know, everything else was, you know, the light was there, and paper towel, water, and the table was already set up. So and we had a source of TV as well.
Yeah, entertainment I think was really key. Yeah. Like, I don't know, listening to music while painting, I can't really do too much of it anymore. It's too repetitive. I get like bored of the music or something, and it just like, well, especially with the music I listen to. But I just gotta switch it up, right? But having a TV and throwing on a show that, like, you know, background noise, or like at that time when it was still a thing, like cable television, really, when that was still kind of on at the time, and we'd get like the typical like, hey, it'd be Futurama or it'd be Simpsons at like 8:30, then it'd be Futurama at 9, then it'd be King of the Hill at 9:30, then it'd be Family Guy at 10, and it's just like the standard, like, you know, just sitcom crap. That
King of the Hill was the best because no one was like excited to watch King of the Hill, but the episodes always ended up being amazing.
Yeah.
Like, oh, King of the Hill's on, should we change it? And then you just start watching it, and you're like,
no. Yeah.
Damn it, Bobby.
Yeah.
That boy ain't right.
That boy ain't right.
Yeah, so I mean, I try and always tell people that, because I think a lot of people in the hobby have a little group of something that they play games with.
Yes.
It's like okay, so just once in a while, just instead of getting together and having to paint instead, it's the same thing.
Yeah. I think to your point too, like I think one of the things that made it so kind of like successful over the years is that, and Dave and I were talking about this earlier today, was just having it on a consistent day, and we just did it every week. Like, the consistency is really key to something like that.
Yeah.
So like hobby night's just kind of been a day every week we always look forward to, and there's almost like never been a time when we haven't had one.
Yeah, very rare. Yeah, there's always someone available or whatever. There's like the odd week where it's a little not attended as well, but generally it's always.
Yeah, we announce cancellations, not if it's happening.
That's right. That's a good way to put it, actually. Yeah. And I think that consistency is important. And I think the thing to remember is, like, even if you're not like jazzed to work on something at the time, just showing up and having your stuff out. Maybe you put like a couple strokes on your model. The point is that you did something, you know.
Yeah.
I think that was the important part for why I wanted to set it up for other people, because I know that, like, being at home and painting in your own space, you get distracted by a bajillion different things. It's very hard for a lot of people to sit down in their own space and actually want to concentrate on painting for more than like 15, 20 minutes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But when you go somewhere with the intent of painting, and especially when you see everyone else around you painting, you're going to do it. It's like going to the gym and sitting around on your cell phone. You're going to start feeling like crap when everyone else starts judging you for just sitting on the side, just looking at your phone for no reason, right? Like, get on the weights or do something or get out. Like,
Yeah, maybe it's your job. Maybe you're like you're an influencer. You're just there to
That's right. Yeah.
sit around and look good.
None of us are that good looking to be influencers.
No.
Listen, I already have opinions about influencers in games workshop or in the hobby. Don't make it sing it. Yeah.
There it is. Yeah.
But yeah, no, absolutely. Just having a space that's like communal and like it probably was always a little harder for Dave to hobby just because it was his house. But even just having everybody like
it was easier once everyone was around, because then I had to stick around you guys, right? I mean, obviously there were the times I'm just like passing out at the table, but hey, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You guys just let me. You guys still sat there and painted, so it was fine.
Oh yeah. Once I was
still down there,
yeah.
It definitely, like it made me sit down there and paint with you guys as well, right? Like, so it worked.
Yeah, and over the years, I think that that kind of model has just always followed with us. Like, I think hobby nights evolved a lot more into just kind of a little bit of everything, I guess. As time's gone on, like because we tended to do it more at hobby stores.
I think we tried gaming at my place, but it was difficult because we had to set up more table, more terrain, and then it just wasn't as feasible at the time. But then like once we started moving to like hobby stores and stuff, then it became like a little bit more gaming focused more than anything.
I think if I remember, we would, for a little while, we would game at like the local store or whatever. I mean, whether it was like X Planet or whatever, or Chris's the Games Workshop Chris managed or whatever, and then we would like paint at Dave's house. Like it was like we played a few times, but I don't know. It felt like it was painting was just more important than playing was secondary.
And I think that's I think another key thing to kind of talk about is like, I think when you're forming a group with people, it is actually really important to kind of have people that have like this similar interest to you, and more so than just like, okay, you do the hobby, I do the hobby. Mm-hmm. More like it's like for our group, it's always been particularly like, I think 95% of us like painting more than gaming. So that's definitely been good, because it means more of the time we're like kind of synced up on what we want to do.
Yeah, we're fortunate in that.
I think it comes from just an awareness too, like be aware of what you like, and try to seek out other people that like those things, because there's a lot of benefit to it.
Yep.
One of the benefits is we've all pushed each other in one way or another to get better at painting over the years.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's kind of crazy to look back on some of the stuff we used to paint compared to what we do now.
Yeah, I tell people a lot, the progression of skill is continuous. It just keeps you, as long as you keep trying stuff and keep painting, you will continuously get a little better.
I think the having a hobby group definitely helps with the second part of that, like the trying new stuff, because like even now, like there's like hardly a month that goes by where Jay isn't like doing some ridiculous new thing to something, and I'm just like, what are you doing, Jay?
Yeah.
And I get to like see him kind of mess around with it, and then I got Dave on the other side of me going like, I'm about to start a model, and Dave's like, you should do this, and it's always like some ridiculous thing, like technique.
Yeah, Dave is really good at finding them.
Yeah, and just like challenging you.
Insane example of something, and then you're like, well, I don't want to do this anymore, so it's not going to be as good as this. artist or whatever. You just like rip that out of your back pocket.
But it's been like, it's sometimes it's funny and sometimes it's like, yeah, it's a good thing to
I
have.
was like, oh, I think I want this to be like a reflection. He's like, here you go, and he shows me like some
The best one you've ever
perfect,
seen in your whole life.
immaculate painted reflection I've ever seen. I was like, oh.
Well, if you're gonna copy something, you want to copy the best.
I don't even know what it was. I was thinking of doing something non-metal, and he rips out a photo of a custode who's like, there's a reflection of the custode in the base. I was like, "What are you? I was like, what the hell is this?"
Oh,
The artist decided
oh my gosh.
to create a, I don't know, the illusion of a reflection in the base of the model. I was like, this is stupid. And then I was discouraged.
Immediately discouraged.
Anyway.
The worst part I think of that is that you can't do it back to Dave.
No,
Yeah, he's very immune to it. Like he just kind of.
he is.
Well, because I mean, I try to push my boundaries. I would say a lot of the time,
Yeah.
right? Like, so that's why, like, when I'm trying to suggest something, it's also because I feel it's generally within the boundaries of what you can do.
So you're saying it's really a compliment then. Okay, that's good. Here, do this. You can do this. That's awesome.
In a way, yeah. It's just sometimes you gotta be pushed into the water before you can swim, right? Like,
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
figure it out.
That is the parenting style you like. Yeah. Lock me in the basement until I learn how to play the piano.
Yeah, basically.
Oh man.
No, it's good. What I really liked, the one time I pushed you was the freehand on your knights for your Titanicus stuff. Turned out fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I had a double effect. I was extremely pleased with the models, and then I didn't want to paint any more of them.
Yeah, and then you were painting another. Good. Again, it was like, oh, good.
I think that was also had to do with timing. I think I was moving into my Deepkin at the time, so it was just kind of.
Yeah, I figured like it wasn't a primary game for you at the time, so it wasn't too much of a focus, and you got to flex a little bit with your what you've learned and everything up to that.
It was a fun challenge because like that's definitely like a big hole in my painting a lot of the time is freehand.
Yeah.
So it was nice to know I could do it if I tried. I think the big thing is like when you're not an illustrator, like you don't know how to draw very well. If you have good brush control and you have like references you can follow, like you can definitely do it. It's just so much more time consuming.
Yeah, figuring out the steps on how to get things, like, yeah. Which I guess goes the same with painting, right? If you don't do it enough, then you just like, I don't know where I'm going with this. How do I base coat again? How do I blend? What's a battle?
What's a battle? What's the tactical advantage of Adeptus Battle Gray?
God. I'm so glad that was like the summer camp that happened right after I had stopped. It was like a year after.
Aren't you glad it happened to our buddy Lewis? That's the best part.
That was great.
Yeah.
I mean, I had to suffer through it, so someone else gets to suffer with me, right?
Anyone who's ever run a summer camp knows what that's like. Holy cow!
It was not worth it. Months of money, it was not worth it. But I was like, hey, whatever, I like staying at Games Workshop. I was like, how bad could this be? I just show up, teach the kids. I don't have to deal with like regular customers. Oh boy, oh did I learn?
Yeah. Yeah, you learn what daycare providers do every day.
Yeah. I think the problem was like we did have set a bit of an age limit, but then we made exceptions for some kids who were a little bit younger, and some of them were too young. I was like, I'm not equipped to handle this.
Sure. Yeah.
It's because the manager's always like, make an exception. It's a sale.
You have to make the sale.
Yeah. Oh well, turned out fine. No kid stabbed themselves. No kid cried. It was fine.
That's true. Yeah. Considering that they were building models with super glue and whatever.
So, what would your guys' advice be to people that have friends that do it or whatever? But it happens with us too. is you get a lot of like obviously with the amount of games and miniature games and things you can do in the hobby. Like it's not like 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Everyone's not just doing Warhammer, right? How do you keep people on track doing the same stuff, or do you even try?
Ooh, that's, I don't know. Actually, I'm speaking from our own experience. I don't think we really do much release that very much. That's very hard to do, unless you're all like really like, nah, I just want to play this game. I don't know. Find events, I guess, that you can sign up for and I'll participate in. Like you know, if it's a Warhammer tournament or weekender, or it's like an Adepticon or whatever, or even a store tournament or whatever, then you have to, if like all 4 of you are going to that event, then it's like the road to the event. It's a thing on its own and so on. So that'll self-promote its way and keep you on the same track. But I don't know. I think it's important that you don't force it either, because everyone wants to paint something different sometimes. So
Yeah, I think keeping on track, like trying to keep people on track of the same kind of miniature game or the same type of hobby they want to do is cool, because you are going to have some people who don't want to kind of currently do that.
Yeah.
I think what worked really well though is like, understanding what each individual person's goal is currently. Like, what are you trying to finish the next like month? What are you trying to finish the next 3 months? Right? Kind of like a job, right? Like, oh, what's your performance? What do you think you're going to accomplish this time frame? Blah 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 blah.
Action thing. Yeah.
Yeah, what's your action plan? Blah blah blah. And because of the hobby nights that we have each other, we got to chirp each other if the other person was working on something way too long. It's like, buddy, you spent like 3-4 months on that. You got to move on. Like,
Having flashbacks, yeah.
Yeah. I've had those flashbacks. I'm like, why is this still on my painting desk? Oh my god.
Yeah, I think the having some you call them bigger or I don't know, more important events on your calendar that you're trying to like complete something for is where multiple members of the group are doing that. I think that's probably the most powerful thing, because then it becomes this like well, I don't know, it's a bit of shame, if you don't finish. You gotta try and finish for X or Y, and obviously you can take it one step further and sign up as a team, like if it's like a doubles event or something, if we're doing a team thing, then that automatically fosters the need to work together and towards a goal or whatever. So I think usually most years a couple of those for us. It's Adepticon is definitely one.
War Masters, I think, definitely started it for us as well. Like the doubles tournament.
That was the original one. Yeah, you're right. Yep.
Yeah. So
doubles tournaments are good.
Each
Yeah.
other accountable. Yeah.
Even for people that are like less interested in the game, like doubles are fun because it's not a lot of models, and it could be fun to play with your friends in the game they like, even if you like it okay amounts. You don't have to love it. Like even Dave was like never, like you've Infinity's been your game for a long time, right?
I've loved sci-fi more than anything else. So even at the time, like playing Warhammer Fantasy, it was more so to kind of like stay in the same lane as the group rather than actually like for my own personal enjoyment.
Yeah, that's a good example though. Like, because
I still enjoyed painting the models and I kind of liked it for what it was, but it wasn't my jam.
It's like your first choice, basically. Yeah, or maybe even your second choice, but you still did it because it was fun, and
the camaraderie was nice.
But I think that like goes back to our point. It's like having those like hobby nights that are about working on models. Like it doesn't matter what game you're playing. Like you can all sit and chat about your week and shoot the shit and chirp each other. Whether you're working, like look at us right now, we're painting 3 different games on the stream.
Yeah.
MODOK would be pretty powerful in Infinity, though. He'd just be like exploding people's heads. He'd be a good hacker. That's for sure. MODOK. Yeah, I'm using this color that I really like. It's from the Malefic flesh set. Malefic flesh set. It's highlight skin. It's like this really nice pale, like highlight color. And if I want to do like kind of like a paler flush, I just mix it into whatever flush tone I want to do, and it really does the job. We sell these at the store. They're great. Vallejo makes a lot of great little like random paint sets.
They've been really ramping up like their paint line lately. I feel like with a whole bunch of like new things, like they're trying to stay on top of the market trends and everything as well. And I really appreciate that because they still have their classic lineup, which has always been fantastic.
Yeah, they released their own version of the color shifting paints, for example, and I think Green Stuff World or whoever kind of started that trend got mad at them because they were like, we trademarked the word color shift. Well, they didn't actually trademark it, but they've like reason to.
Yeah.
Vallejo's like, oh, whatever. Anyway, we made the same paint. You should buy them.
They're way less expensive.
Yes.
And way more accessible.
Yes, that's a big one. Yeah, for sure.
Easier to order. Yeah.
The nice thing about our hobby group too is because, I mean, we always had a bit of rivalry among all of us, trying to figure out who's the better painter, who's like, you know, who's got the new technique, who's got the new edge on like army painting, whatever. Right now, it's always fun. It was always the fight for the number 2 headband.
Well, it was like a legit fight, and then we added John to the group, and then there was no one. It didn't matter anymore.
Well, no, he's the number 1, so that's why we're fighting for the number 2.
Yeah, exactly. I kind of just like whatever. John will just do something that humbles everyone, and you're like, you know what? All this work I'm putting in, it kind of doesn't matter.
Really, you're trying to just stay as good as John 7 years ago. That's my goal.
That's
all the
right.
time, you know?
That's right.
Yeah,
that's a good one. Yeah.
Like it's like that's it. You're just trying not to let him pull too much ahead of you, you know?
You want to still see him up ahead, just in the distance. Yeah, I can still see you.
Yeah, as long as he doesn't cross over that horizon.
Yeah. I mean, anytime he has a decent amount of free time, he definitely seems
like
to
right
shoot
now.
ahead of, like right now, exactly.
Yeah.
He's painting for like 10 hours a day or whatever. I'm just like, oh my god.
Yeah. Good.
Well, Sword and Brush has been a good, I think, a good healthy thing for our group too, because it's just kind of like paint something for the sake of painting something and show it off, and
Yeah.
that's been good.
Speaking of, I still have mine right here.
What do you got?
Yeah,
Oh, you have it. You brought it home, eh?
I brought it home to take photos of, and I didn't bring it back yet, and then everything happened, so
Yeah, fair enough.
here it stays. Yeah, Sword and Brush has been fantastic because not only for like us as the painters, but for our own group as well, because we've been running the tournaments alongside it. So they like our friends who do look more forward towards like playing tournaments and all that stuff can do that instead. We are also, like Jay was saying, like, I mean, we're lucky that we now have 2 events that we can look forward to that the majority of most of our group can take part in, right? Like going to Adepticon, it caters to so many different games and so many different types of miniature related stuff that like I'm surprised most hobbyists don't have it on their calendar if they haven't already, right?
Yeah, you like I always tell people like once you go, it's really hard not to want to go over here. Like it's just such a good time.
There's something for everyone, right? And that's the nice thing, like, because you guys have been going for AOS, I've been going for Infinity. Our other buddy Tom's been going for like 40K. Our other friends go for like the Horus Heresy, Titanicus, and all that other kind of stuff too. There's other people in the area that I see from like other hobby stores that like I recognize they're there as well doing their thing. It's nice. It's nice that like all of us who enjoy the hobby for what it is can have like one event to go to, which rip would have been nice to go to, but oh well.
Rip, yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There'll always be another Adepticon.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much all the events are canceled until the summer. Well, I think it could be even longer. We don't know.
Yeah.
You're stuck with us now.
That's right. Yeah, this is the closest thing you get to Adepticon right here.
Well, I don't even think this would be considered even 0.1%
No, I don't think so.
of yeah.
It's so starting a hobby group. I don't know. It's tough with my experience, mainly because like I had already worked with people and been in such a very like nurturing environment to have it kind of evolve naturally. What would you say is like someone who's like newer to the hobby, like what they could do to kind of like find a hobby group or start a hobby group or something?
So I think the key thing is you got to find a place to go. Like, uh, if you're fortunate enough to live in a big enough city that has a hobby store or two, like find one that has um, some sort of hangout space, like maybe like a painting space or like a regular gaming night or something like that. And I think the best thing you can do, and I've seen the people that have done this the most effectively over the years, is just try to make friends in kind of like a, you know, just kind of a natural way. Just kind of try and
Organic.
let it be organic. Exactly. Like let it happen on its own. Hang out. Just be nice to people. Talk about stuff other people are interested in and stuff you're interested in. And maybe it grows into like a game that you play with that person, and then maybe a couple of people that are playing the same game as you or painting a couple times in a row. It just kind of grows from there. Maybe you exchange numbers or whatever. You start chatting online.
I think if you're into painting a lot specifically, actually this applies to both games and painting. Is for example, Sword and Brush has a figure show. If you're like painting is your main jam, go to some figure shows. Sure,
Absolutely.
you will. Figure shows are like it's like a tournament. Like you're all in the same room. You're all there for the same reason. Like you will. There's no way you're not. You're gonna meet and chat with other people that are like in it for the same reason or whatever. So at the tournament you're gonna play 4 games or whatever. You meet 4 people and maybe one of them. I mean they'll all be good games, but maybe one of them you'll be like you headed off or whatever more so. And if you attend that event multiple times, year after year, you'll run into the same person again and people again and so forth. And so I've noticed that from the Sword and Brush figure show that we've started. Well, it wasn't our event to begin with. We partnered with Alex McCutcheon and the other people that make that event happen. And I've only attended it personally, like only once or whatever. But I immediately chatted and met people, and then when I see them again, when they come in the store, like I instantly already have a relationship. We can talk about whatever painting thing is going on, and it doesn't take much. Just go to these. You have to kind of put yourself out there and go to these things if you want. It's like going to I don't know, a Comic-Con if you like cosplay or something, or like you gotta you go to these big events because it's like the biggest collection of the like-minded people in one place. So
And I think if you're gonna take the next step and turn it into like some sort of hobby group, it's gonna sound silly, but it's a bit like asking a girl out. You gotta like have the confidence to be like, hey, do you want to hang out sometime, or
sure,
do you want to like paint or have a game, or
If the same skills are being used.
That's right. Yeah.
I mean, even in our own store, there are people that would just hang out and paint a lot, and I think some of the other people that hung out and painted a lot, and it's pretty simple. I've seen it happen a lot.
Yeah. We try to. I think we also, just from our own experience, we try to foster that like natural effect, because like people always ask us like, oh, do you guys have gaming nights for this and that? And we're just always like, if you want to be part of the community, the best thing you can do is just come in, hang out, and meet people. Yeah. And those relationships that have spawned from that like organic kind of being around just like on Friday nights or whatever, or on the weekend, are much more healthy and better than just like, hey, do you want to play a game of 40K? We're strangers, and this is going to somehow be fun.
yeah, it takes a little bit of time, and, but we have. It's like I've seen it, in Infinity Night. I've seen it at the superhero days.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like a lot of those guys quickly become just like you have to even become good friends. You just become like gaming partners, I guess. You're just like, hey, once you play a game or two against the same person and you had a good time, it's pretty simple. Next time you see them, you're like, hey, you want to play? And that's it. You just kind of go from there.
And it's such a better experience because you're playing the game like you're going to play them again. So like you just like a lot of things that I guess may matter to you more in like a tournament setting where you're trying to beat the person, they just kind of melt away and you're just trying to have like
Yeah,
an actual experience with the person.
sure.
The superheroes Sundays is definitely a great example of that. Just like the same 4 or 5 guys, we've all been kind of doing this stuff for a few years now. So the games are a lot of fun, and you like you played the same people a long time. It's good.
I would say especially for like the weekly get-togethers. Like, there's no need to go for that hardcore tournament type of play with your weekly get-together kind of people either, or the people you see on the weekly basis. Because like, you're all just there for practice, really. If you want to get that tournament hardcore fun, go to a tournament, right?
Yeah.
The whole point of like the weekly get-together so you can actually practice your like weird wonky ideas and like try something new, try something different with like the core of people that you who know how you play and who know what you're trying to achieve. Really.
The other thing I've noticed that happens, and this happens on your Infinity Night, Dave, and it happens on the Superhero Sunday, is like just coming out naturally of like having been played with those people, you actually start caring about that other person's experience. And I see a lot more conversations like, hey, what kind of game do you want to have? Do you want to play this list, and it's like there's the whole social contract thing is finally happening, where people are agreeing on an experience they're going to have together before they actually start rolling dice. It's really it's really
Like, are
healthy.
you looking to play just a super fun game, or are you looking for like a hardcore tournament game?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember like I'll play like Brandon in Marvel, and it'll be like, oh, what are you gonna play? And I'll like, oh, I want to play against this. I want you to use like the Avengers or whatever. And like it's about setting a theme or whatever. And it's kind of more fun for me that way. Exactly. That's kind of the way I like to play, at least.
Yeah. Well, I'd have to pick the robot. He's got so much metal on him.
I mean, you were gonna paint Custodes. I think that would have been more chill for sure.
I think I chose against it because there's so much metallic on them that they're just reflecting the lights that I have back into the camera. It's like it looks like a J.J. Abrams film on my camera.
It's true. It's way too much lens flare. Yeah. The lenses are flaring into each other.
We're just lucky there's not a lens flare button I can just keep pushing. I'd be flaring all day. Pew, pew.
Oh, not my eyes.
So I'm just on Modoc right now. I've done a couple of glaze highlights, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some color into the face. So I've just got some dark purples, and I've got a bit of dark red, and I'm just going to kind of glaze them into some of the shadows, make the color a bit more interesting. This is a common technique for skin. You can take greens, reds, purples, all that kind of stuff, and just kind of glaze it into different areas. I like purple around the eyes. Silent Nights, what's that? Not familiar with that. Oh, are they D&D models? My D&D knowledge is pretty weak. Awesome. Hopefully in the future we can figure out a way to get some of your guys' pictures of your progress posted in the video as well. That'd be cool.
You can get them to tag their photos on Instagram, and then you can look for that tag and then
add them in the stream as we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Probably gonna need an Instagram account.
Uh-oh.
Look, Instagram's for younger generation. Okay.
Not even. TikTok's the new thing.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, there you go.
TikTok. Madness. There's other reasons you don't go on Instagram when you're married.
Yeah.
Yep.
A lot of reasons. Use the hashtag Lord of War tag. Sounds good, yeah. We can do that. We can set something like that up.
Just gonna get a lot of.
Do you want to do Dwayne's minute or whatever? Dwayne's corner.
Dwayne's corner.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me get my list up here.
So Dwayne's corner is a special time for those of you guys who weren't here last time, where we try to answer the millions and billions of questions Dwayne
has for us.
We're gonna need to get a little music note for Dwayne's corner.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
I don't accidentally redouble some of these. Okay. Okay.
We did power weapons. I think we did some shading questions.
Yes.
And
He has a question about. This is a good one for Dave. I'm gonna give him this complicated question. Marble for bases.
Oh, jeez.
I'm gonna hop in my car and drive away now, Top Gear style. I'll leave you to it.
This is where my camera just goes black.
It just goes black.
Dave has left the stream.
Dave has left the stream.
Ugh, mein Gott. Let me dive into my brain.
Ooh.
You got to Sherlock. You got to or unlock your mind palace, dude.
Your mind palace.
Yeah,
basically. Go deeper and deeper.
I do like that analogy of it, like, because I do have a whole bunch of it kind of like tucked away. Like, I have knowledge of all these stupid painting techniques that I just don't ever use, but worthwhile to kind of know. The one that I've seen that's the most easily utilized is the cotton method, or like the really like pull apart kind of like a cotton swab kind of like methodology, where you pull out this like fibrous kind of material over top of like, so the idea, like, let's say it's white marble with the black veins. The black is in the veins, it's in the strands, and you want that to show up. So you spray that black whatever first, with maybe a bit of a gray gradient if you have the time, with an airbrush or with like a spray paint. Doesn't have to be much, it's like a light dusting.
A solid color is what Dave's saying. Yeah.
And then after that, you take, I don't have cotton or anything, but you're taking something like a fibrous material, and you're getting it to the point of like where it's really like thin, and you can actually see the strands. And you take that and you like pull it over. This is obviously not the right material, but like you pull it over. Actually, you know what? I have something.
Yeah, you have to take like like you said, like a fabric, like paper fabric that you can tear, but like not tear, pull apart, and that leaves you with this like.
So here's some cotton, basically, and you want to get it like a bit fibrous and strandy. So you can see here where it gets like really thin and really stretched out. So something like this actually would be like, you could put this onto a bit of a base.
There you go. Yeah.
Like asbestos, yeah, like asbestos. Maybe not asbestos though. Don't do that.
Lord's Word does not condone asbestos.
But so you do that. So you take your base, let's say it's your black base here. You put this on top, and then you spray your white or your off-white on top of this, basically. So then through the more, it'll like the white will go through. it'll get caught on some of the strands, and then when you pull it off, you'll have a bit of a marbly effect. I'm not sure if you need to clean it up afterwards. I honestly haven't done this myself, but I've seen the techniques done online, and that's the way they do it. Sometimes I think they use like steel wool as well, just because
Yeah.
it's a little bit more fibrous to look to start off with, I guess.
Shape.
So
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that technique recently too, and I was like, oh, this is actually not very difficult. And
yeah, I think that's the easiest one for like good effect. I mean, if you want to be an artist and paint it by hand, go ahead. All you got to do is look at friggin' reference material. Right.
I used to do it with stippling. I
Yeah.
had some decent effects. You can kind of like blend stipple. That's kind of a weird thing, but
Mm-hmm.
and I was kind of got some good effects with like marbling before, but
Mm-hmm.
it would be one of those things I'd have to show it in a video. It's kind of they're kind of like jamming a dry brush with like kind of like a wetter. Yeah.
You could do browns and whites too. Just
Yep,
instead of black,
exactly.
you put brown.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Depends on which marble you want to pick. Dave's example is like more of like the Carrera marble, but lots of marbles you can do.
Carrera marble. Black and white.
That's like the white. It's white with a bit of black rather than the black with the white. I don't know.
Listen, I don't have that for my countertop, so.
I don't either. What about inking? When do you use inks?
Oh, that's a good question.
Who's this one for? Who has to answer this one?
This is
Give me the hardest one.
I gave you the hardest one. Yeah. I don't know.
I can
Maybe
answer this
Oh,
one.
there
I
you
guess,
go.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, everybody's answer might be a little different, so it might be interesting to hear from everybody. But to be honest, inks, I don't use them as often, but I like them for when I need that like hard edge kind of like line. I've used a lot of black, brown, purple to get like clear, distinct shadow. Because the nice thing about the ink is it has that like pooling effect of like a wash, but it's much darker. A panel lining, Space Marines, for example, is a great use for inks. Like, and of course, just like any color, you can thin it out and use it for whatever you want. But that's traditionally what I've used them for.
Yeah, if you need to tint something, you thin it way down.
Yeah.
It'll really stain whatever is you put it on top of without overtaking it into by being too dark. So a lot of artists use like inks for that, just to add a punch of color, but they don't want it to be. They want it to be like a bit see-through. So they don't. You'll see artists use it on like their swords and whatever metallic surfaces to like add a bit of reflection or color to them or whatever. So that's one example. But yeah, I agree with Chris. I don't use them a lot, but sometimes I use them. They can be useful. You have to be a little bit careful not to overdo it, because they will. Like if you just throw it on top of something, it'll just like wipe it out.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so dark.
Yeah.
Something that I don't know. I hear about. I've never. I don't know. This is like Dave will probably have more info on this. There's like a trend that came up last year, or this year. People were using it with some kind of like white ink or something to prime or
To airbrush white.
to airbrush white.
Yeah.
I've heard about this too.
With zenithal lights and everything, because it's actually transparent. Like it's properly transparent. You can do it on thinner layers compared to like white paint.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I picked that up from the Miniac video actually. Shout out to him, I guess.
Yeah.
I haven't tried it personally. I saw some people. It's one of those other trends kind of popping up. So yeah, it sounds neat.
I've had at least a couple customers mention it to me, so it's definitely something I want to look into at some point, but I haven't come across it. I think you can just get like artist ink, right, for that?
Yes.
Yeah, you can go to like Michael's or like any other like higher end like artist store and find. We have Curry's, we have Desirés as well.
Sears. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, a couple of people have told me that just in terms of like airbrushing white, it's like the purest, nicest white they've seen. So it's kind of an interesting thing.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense. Our airbrush guru Pat is always like, you got to thin the white a lot to make it apply like with it really nicely. So I would imagine a white ink is already super thin. So
yeah,
it makes sense from that. And then if you apply that logic, that it would go on without any speckling or whatever, because it's just thinned to the max.
Yeah.
You really do have to super thin white, my god.
And do a bunch of layers, yeah. Alright, we can do one more here. Use medium on top of ink. It'll
Dwayne's corner.
Down. What is that? I'm not sure. Oh, don't use contrast on top of ink.
Pro tip.
I like that pro tip.
Holy cow, medium on ink, it'll strip it down. That's savage, man.
Yeah.
That's savage.
There's a good one. This one's a good catch-all for all of us. Is picking themes for your armies.
Oh wow.
Or in like how you go about, I guess, executing it. Or
personally, for me at this point, it's what primary or like what color haven't I painted for an army or something recently. Like if I haven't worked on something yellow or green or blue for a while, like it's about time for me to do something like this.
that's one way. Yeah. Just purely like.
Because for me, it's more of like, what am I trying to like accomplish next in terms of like my own painting ability and like getting
like,
cool with, right? So
it's like a challenge type of
yeah,
for sure. That's one way for sure. I kind of some armies or whatever are easier than others. It's hard not to do a sea theme with Deepkin.
No kidding, eh?
It's hard not to paint Custodes gold.
Yeah, exactly. I like to really look at the whole thing. Like I stop and think about like I think about what's the basing gonna like do I have an idea for the basing? Like is this I don't know, race or army I'm working on? Are they going to be, where are they living? Where are they from? Type of thing. And then, or what realm? That's an easy one for you. Just like what planet do they, hail from, or what are they fighting on? And then once I have a base idea that I like, then I actually start thinking of the colors for the models that would go with that base, and for it to make sense. So I try and really think about it, and then I think about how the display board might like what it's going to look like. And it's like a lot of what I think about goes is like well before I even build the models or pick colors for them or anything, where I've already like thought of. It's like it's like artists that just do concept art or whatever in the studio, like this the whatever, if it's a video game designing company or whatever, they'll just have like teams of artists just sketching and drawing stuff based on like a few parameters, and then they might be like, hey, draw a guy that looks like, I don't know, he's like a brute or something, and he's got he's from the mountains, and then the artist will just start coming up with ideas that like could fit that. And I think if you spend a bit of time thinking about that, it'll be easier to come up with unique, fun, kind of cool armies. And it's okay, you can borrow from other, you could borrow from movies or books or
games, whatever.
Video games, yeah. Like
video game character skins are actually really good idea to pull like color palettes and everything from, because they've already kind of worked out like what works well together and what doesn't.
Yeah. for sure. Yeah, you can think of like, is the setting dark? Is it light? Is it, movies and shows are really easy to pull from. You can just be like, oh, I want this to be like, this thing, or from, whatever, from this planet or setting. So
yeah, sometimes it doesn't really work with the models that you want it to work on. So that's where it's kind of important to get some feedback from people around you as well, especially those who are a little bit more knowledgeable about colors and stuff like that, to just be like, hey, do you think these colors really work well together or not? It's like,
yeah, sometimes you have a theme or whatever, but you're overthinking it, or maybe you're trying to drive the theme too far, and it maybe isn't going to work for that. So yeah, for sure, there's some themes that are like kind of universally applicable, things like undead or death or pet or like Nurgle type of things.
yeah,
apply to virtually anything, something rotting or dying, or but yeah, there's some work better for certain models than others, for sure. Yeah.
Seems like one of the other places that having a hobby group is pretty advantageous, right? Can't believe like how many times have I like painted a prototype and been like, hey guys, what do you think of this?
Sure.
Huh.
Yeah, you get the huh.
Yeah, the huh is not good. That's why I don't ask John anymore, I think for me, it's really depends on the project and kind of how I get inspired to do it in the first place. A lot of the time, I do look up like artwork to get inspired and draw colors from. And actually, I more often draw colors from pieces of art than I do from other models that are painted, just because I like that kind of conceptual level. I think, like what Jay was saying, a little bit more. It's a little more raw, I guess, and it leaves a little bit more room for interpretation.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I think every time I basically will just pick a character, just any character, and just paint it, and just kind of like bang it out and kind of try my colors on it, and kind of, it's almost like a, just a proof or whatever, to see if proof of concept, to see if it actually like passes the test.
Yeah, the demo model is definitely an important thing, like the concept model, before you dive full on into an army scheme.
It's good. It's good for a lot of reasons. I think it's just like basically you might decide really quickly, like, I don't think I want to do this army anymore. Yeah, or just like, okay, yeah, like to what you were saying, Dave, like, yeah, these colors just don't work together, or I need to darken this one or soften this one, or whatever it might be.
Here, take more of it away from here.
Exactly. There's just so much that goes into it. And if you don't like to think about those sort of things, like not everyone's brain is wired that way, or some people just aren't interested in it. I find myself at the store doing a lot of people over the years just come in and just kind of run their idea for their army by us, and just kind of like, what about these colors? Do you think this would work? And then the other thing is, like, I think what Dave was saying is, or Jay, stuff in the book and the codex and like stuff the studio's done. A lot of they've done the color theory already for you. So, picking a theme out of there, like the Space Marine chapters, they look awesome because they've done all the work for you.
Yeah.
It might just be a matter of like picking an accent color that you like for a particular unit or division. That's a good way to personalize it. Dwayne's corner.
Yeah, we'll do some more next time.
He's already got more lists probably on the go.
Gold. These ideas are too golden. You can't just give them away.
Paint a kilt. Oh god.
No thanks.
To do one on McMurray recently, and first time painting a kilt. I've learned some things from it. It's neat, but I don't want to do it again.
Is what I was gonna say. One of the things you learned is I don't want to do this.
Yeah,
I don't want to do this anymore.
Well, I think especially because it was like the first time, and I wasn't being smart and looking up tutorials on how to do it. I was just being stubborn and looking at a photo and be like, I can do this. I got this.
I see.
I didn't have it.
I didn't. I did not have it. That's fair. I love the Caledonian models. It's just like they scare the bejesus out of me.
Yeah. The amount of kills that you got to do there, just like. Plus, it's also infinity. Every single model just takes a year off your life.
Yeah. Like maybe they could mail it in on a few sculpts, you know, and it wouldn't be so hard to paint them. But you know, nope.
No.
That's why people love them. I love painting superheroes because they're like 3 colors. It's wonderful. I'm so
jumpsuit.
So relaxed right now. This guy's flesh purple and yellow. It's like it's just like. What's everybody else working on out there? Here's a fun question. What do you guys think Hobby Night will be like in 10 years?
Hopefully the same.
Yeah.
Feel like.
I mean, it's already been more than 10 years since its inception. I feel like
That's
it's generally
true.
been more. Other than location, people's lives have changed a little bit as well, but for the most part, it's like.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, we could use a TV at the store. That'd be great. Get on that, guys.
We were planning on getting one for the basement before this all happened, but that's been moved to the 2025 budget.
Yeah, that budget's been deferred
indefinitely. Yeah. No, I think 10 years from now, I mean, people will still have their responsibilities, people will have their jobs, but I think it'll still be going strong in terms of like people keeping up to date with the hobby. But I don't know. I mean, you guys already have a bit of insight into what it's like with a busy parent life. Like 10 years from now, when your kids are older, what do you think it's going to be like in terms of your own time? You think you'll be able to get like
holograms like that one?
just VR chat, basically? Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe.
I just think we like the company aspect of it too much, you know? Like just, I know a lot of the guys, like, we haven't been able to have a physical hobby night in a while, and it's actually like been killing people a little bit. Like this is literally the first time in so long we haven't been able to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a thing our friends who've like when they've moved away for like significant lengths of time, it's a thing that they've missed coming back as well, right? They're like, oh man, I missed this bull crap.
Yeah.
It's like it's a familiar place. It's like the whole Cheers kind of situation, right? It's like it's people you know, the things you love to do, and get together and just hang out, paint, shoot the shit.
Yeah, like I feel like we're actually gaining on John a little bit when he was living in the States, you know?
When he has to move somewhere.
Because his hobby group he found down there was like a little bit more gaming oriented, so he didn't really have the drive to paint models when he wasn't around us as much.
Yeah, it was good. Because we learned a lot when he was gone, because we kind of had to push ourselves. He wasn't there to help us anymore.
Yeah.
So, we kind of caught up to him, and then now he's just streaming ahead again.
He's been flexing pretty hard recently. I have not been enjoying it.
I think it's good.
It is good.
I think it's good for people to see that this exists locally. It's not just some random European artist that you've never heard of. Like there are good painters locally who can also paint really quickly as well.
The difference is too, though. I think recently is like John is a phenomenal painter, but there's not too much he does these days where I'm not like really I'm like, oh, I know how he did that. You know, like there's a bit more like the knowledge has been kind of lifted in a way. You know.
Yeah, yeah. You've seen behind the curtain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is funny because I mean, that's what John was saying after taking the Sergio class. That after taking that, he wasn't as mystified by Sergio's models anymore. But I remember the first time us seeing his models in the Space Wolf and everything, like at Adepticon, we're all just floored.
Yeah.
And how even just looking at the Dark Age and that entire range on display at the time, like, oh my god, realizing that it was basically him and the other big child creative people painted that, I was like, this is just insane. This is amazing. Like how
Yeah, and actually finding out those answers, like it's a lot simpler than you might imagine. You know,
yeah.
like he's still technically incredible, but when you kind of see those steps unfold, like it definitely it's almost like seeing a magician's tricks. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else is metallic on this?
Are you base coating metallic right now, or are you kind of
Like I'm doing the blend up from the black to a bit of a gray, and then I'm gonna go into the specular light. But because like it's the same model, but it's not, right? It's a transformed robot. So I'm trying to remember, like, be consistent between the models of like what I've painted.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, that's jeez. Don't you love painting two models that's actually one model?
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
Thanks, Infinity.
3 models actually. There's one more.
Shut
But,
up. No way.
Yeah, there's the guy on foot. The guy who's on the motorcycle. He actually comes out. He's on foot. Yeah.
Oh my
So
god.
it's 3 models for the profile of one.
Great.
I love this game. I love this game so much.
These are tears of happiness, not sadness.
I think it's more like Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah. We all have a bit of that going on for sure.
Dave, what game is this from? This is from Infinity. These are Tunguska Zonautica. Nomad side of things.
It's a bike that transforms into a robot and it has a guy on it.
That gets off.
But it all counts as one thing in the game.
Meow. There's another transforming thing, isn't there? There's the tiger, I think.
Yes.
Tiger bot.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a cool model.
That one's also funny because that's a 2-for-1 as well.
Yeah.
Like you can, most people are fine with letting you get away with just like using one of each, like one in tiger mode, one in foot mode, and then just being like, yeah, this one, like just put a token next to it. What mode is it in?
Right. Yeah.
But I think it was 2 years ago at Adepticon. There was actually a team. It was a doubles team, and they actually had 5 of them together because you're allowed whatever. But they painted them all up different colors, like Power Rangers. So you had the 5 the little like other pilots going around with the Zanshi, and then you had the 5 Tiger bots running around in the different colors. Like this is actually pretty cute. That's actually what won out for doubles best presentation over myself and John. I was like, yeah, I get it. Cool, like theme.
Were they painted well?
They were painted all right. They had a theme.
Yeah, I guess. When it's player voting, it usually theme that definitely has a higher weighting for sure.
Theme wins, and we were in
Yeah.
the yellow lighting room, so
Yeah, some of those rooms have cost me awards at Adepticon before. Jay and I felt the wrath year 1 or whatever.
yeah.
The dark room.
Yeah, definitely glad to be out of that room. Definitely happy last year being in like the main hall.
Oh, that's right. Infinity made it to the main hall. That was pretty cool.
it was nice. I was really happy for them because they had 40 spots originally for the tournament. They sold out immediately, so they had to expand it to 60.
That's great.
Wow. Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to Code 1 for that game. I think it's going to be a huge hit.
Yeah, I think so too.
I was trying to
I mean, the
explain
models look fantastic.
I was trying to explain how to get into Infinity to someone yesterday, and I realized just by going through that really long process of explaining it that they needed Code 1 so badly.
Yeah, 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 absolutely.
Yeah.
It's got a huge learning curve, and I know that's what turns off most people from like wanting to get better at it, because even trying to play it is a learning curve. So the code one will make things a lot easier, hopefully. Forget if the beta rules are or the rules are out
I think
online
they
for it
did. I
now,
think they
but
did. Yeah. I think they just like realizing as a company like you can have that and still have your deep game because like there's you gotta remind yourself, and this is what Games Workshop's always thrived at over the years, is most people are pretty casual, like just want to kind of roll dice and enjoy their models,
yeah.
and they're not really concerned with the depth.
I think they've also had to have the time to get to that stage as well.
Yes.
They grew enough of their player base that like they knew their player base knew that they could build a dependable game that was complex and like proper. So then being able to take a step back to something a little bit more dip your toe in and start to really get like to just kind of chill out and play Infinity, I think they needed time because they've been around since like 2003 or something
Yeah,
like that,
man.
right? Yeah, they've been around for a long time. So
I think to your point, I think the complexity and the uniqueness helps you a lot while you're growing your game out of nothing.
hmm
But then you hit that point where you're so big. To take the next step, you have to really like say, okay, do you we can just continue being unique and accept that there's going to be a lot of people that don't want to play this game because it's too complicated, or B, try and expand our player base by having like a second format essentially. And
yeah.
I think they've actually done it the best way because they're not really going to put off any of their existing customers by doing something like this. At least
No,
I
especially
don't
because they've
think so.
already announced the fourth edition of
Yeah,
Infinity coming out this
yeah.
summer. So it's like, yeah, like okay, well we know that that's coming, so they're not pushing it back or anything.
So it's like, yeah, Code One. You should be if you play Infinity and you like how complex it is, you should be excited about Code One. Maybe you don't play it, but you should be excited because it's good for Infinity. It's good for the game. It gets more people.
Realistically, I think most Infinity players understand that Code 1 is just a good thing for people to have if they want to learn how to get into Infinity because a lot of us have been through it and it's hard. Not gonna fucking lie. It's really, really
Yeah,
hard to learn Infinity and get into it and really want to continue playing it because it's a lot of different rules that you got to learn and everything. And unless you're playing consistently with a whole bunch of other people who know the game as well and who aren't trying to catch you on moments because that can happen a lot in that game if you're not playing the right kind of people, then yeah, you can have a really bad time.
I hope you want to see your Banshee close up, Jay, because it's just
Even
so
closer.
close, dude. Like all the way close. Like up the camera, in up and in.
In more. I don't know. Which more I can.
I'm gonna set it up for next time or the future, like that we'll actually be able to cut to a bigger screen. If you guys want to see one of us do a particular technique or whatever, that'll be something we'll be adding in the future. So stay tuned as I continue to learn how this stuff works.
Yeah, I'm just trying to clean up the all the little nooks and crannies and clean up the bone color. Just using Wraithbone.
Wraithbone, awesome.
Uh,
I like that. So that you've gone for like almost like a Wraithbone. You've gone actually pretty traditional with them.
yeah.
Yeah, nice. I was like, wait a second.
Yeah, it's tedious cleaning up all the little in between the armor plates and
Mm-hmm.
things like that. So
Are you just painting one at a time, or you got a bit of a?
This is the first one.
Okay.
This is the prototype, I guess. So it's taking longer. I'm hoping to get a better assembly line going for the rest of them.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe find a quicker method to get some parts of them done a little faster. So.
We'll have to have Dave on another time to talk about glazing, because Dave is the guy that's really kind of driven that technique home over the years. It's kind of it's definitely revolutionized my painting. I have to say, like.
Oh hell yeah!
Like I used to, and it's funny because like I used to get made fun of, maybe by John the most for this, but like I was like 1,000 layer guy. Like I would always do like like a million of these little color transitions with like mixing paint and like just continuously layering, and things would just take so long. And I think I remember, this is like quite a few years ago now, the first time Dave just like took some white paint, thinned it down like almost to water, and just started putting it on red or whatever. And I was like, what are you doing? Oh no, it might have been on black actually the first time you showed me.
Yeah, it was directly on black. I think I was showing you how to highlight a gun or something.
Yeah, it was, and it might have been an Infinity model or something. I don't remember, but
Yeah.
and he just started painting white over black, and it actually was like he's like controlling it and like basically blending it. And I was like, huh. And that was one of those like few times in my hobby life where my mind was exploded, and I was like, everything I've been doing is a lie.
Wow.
Yeah, because I think that's when I showed you eventually. That's when we all learned eventually. Like I don't need to blend up from like a dark red to a medium red, and with like a start off with your dark red. Then your next layer is a dark red mixed with your medium red. Then your next layer is the medium red. Then your next layer is your medium red with your like lighter red, and then like you blend your way out that, and that takes forever. And doing that among a million guys was too long. Now heroes here, paint your mid red, take this dark blue, thin it out, put that as your shade, take this like flesh color, use that as your highlight, you're done. 3 colors instead of like a million layers, and you're just like, oh.
Yeah, and the point is that you like you see way more colors on the model because you've applied all these tints, essentially, and transitions just by applying the same color over and over again in a controlled way. But
yeah, the transition happens naturally throughout the going from like the bright to the mid-tone, basically, rather than like having to work in the color, and then that's when you start getting like pinks and stuff like that, or like really off like bright colors that don't look right anymore.
The other thing too, I think what happened for me personally is I just started like, because it clicked in my head, I got the confidence to just start jamming colors on and not worrying about like these like subtle transitions as much. And I think what happened is my blending just got better as well, because even when the paint's even a little bit thicker and it's not like super thin, like you're kind of forced to kind of like learn how to get it to blend, as opposed to like if you're just doing these like really subtle transitions, you're not really learning how to blend, you're just kind of like layering it.
Yeah,
so that actually happened as well, I think. How would you say, like, Jay, your like brush control and like your style has evolved over the years?
Oh, it's changed a lot. I used to also, I mean, we all learned to paint the Citadel method, which is a solid method. Works for just about it. It's the easiest one to teach because it's just a layer system for you. Yeah, you take, dark color, do a wash to add, contrast, and then highlight it and do like work it up and edge highlight it and stuff like that. So I was very much in the edge highlight. I was the edge highlight guy. So
yeah,
just coincidentally, like also like how Games Workshop paints the models on their boxes. They're basically some solid colors, and then they perfectly like I could never do it as well as they did, but like perfectly edge everything so that the sculpt on the model is doing the bulk of the work, the showing off. And except I took it to a bit of an extreme, because when I was doing it a lot, I would like edge highlight, and then I would highlight the highlight and highlight the highlight. So I had this like very extremely contrast heavy style where everything just like popped like way more than it needed to. And that was how I painted for years and years. And then
The running joke was that you would always highlight straight to white,
white, yeah, white, because that's.
and it
like,
turns out you were right.
Yeah.
It's the case of learning how to glaze, and oh wait, I can go directly to white. Oh,
I can go
no.
directly. Yeah,
Jay's
yeah.
right.
Don't tell
I was
Jay.
right.
Don't tell Jay.
I was right all along. Yeah. This is true. Sunny skin tone. When was it? I would say last 5 years, yeah, since the store opened, maybe before the store opened. I was already starting to tone down a bit of the harsh highlights and not do them as much and not go as high, and be more sparing with the white and try more I don't know, more advanced painting techniques. I don't know what it was. Maybe I had more time to do it now that like the hobby store was more integrated in my life, so kind of what
Mm-hmm.
thinking about it and doing it. Maybe it was access to more hobby supplies and things, or I don't know. But or maybe I just, because of the time in my life, I just decided, because I painted so much, that I wanted to slow down a bit and just like paint models. I have more of an approach that I only want to paint, redo an army, do it again later, and do it a different way. I just want to do it once and just do it slowly and make it look really, to a point where I'm really satisfied, and that's it. So that's a roundabout way of saying that, yeah, I'm also kind of picked up the similar things the guys are talking about. Right? Maybe through airbrushing, or now with contrast paint, you kind of block in the lighting of the model with your darks and with your grays and whites, and try and build up that, and then basically put color on top of that. And if you put the color on top thinly, or airbrush it or glaze it on, you'll get all that highlight and shading already done for you. Which is why so many people do the zenithal highlighting. That's what the reason that exists is it kind of, you're like doing something inverse. Like, rather than building up 100 layers, you're just putting in the lights and darks in first, and then kind of working around. So let's say I've added that too, but it depends on what I'm working on. These banshees I'm painting a little more traditionally. Maybe not actually. I did paint them a light color and then use washes and things to tint them. So yeah, I found I got better results that way too. So, but I was gonna say, yeah, and all three of us have things that do, more than the other. So yeah, I think Chris is still the more, he's more of like sweeping broad strokes with his like shades and colors, and I'm more of a detailed painter, I think, and then Dave's like a really detailed painter. If that makes sense. Maybe because he paints so much Infinity. So
Probably it. You get lost in the non-metal.
you just, I do, well, yeah, I do a lot of that too. I always like have to include some sort of I don't know, some sort of non-metal element. It's something. Yeah. It was a thing that I really liked in the mid, when it was becoming like really in the forefront of like miniature painting in the 2000s and whatever, like the thing. And it was like such a mystery, and then I was able to kind of unlock it for myself. Now I do it on everything. I can't. I have to be like, yeah. So
I think
on-
with the super miniature painting, you mean though, like for me, I really cut my teeth on like glazing and like painting details on Infinity. That's basically like when your store opened. That's when they released the new Ice Storm, and that's when I really started to like take off with my Infinity painting and like that level of detail,
Yeah.
because of like learning how to blend on such small surfaces is it's a pain in the ass. You guys have been through it. Like painting Infinity Balls is not enjoyable by any means, but once you get it done and it looks good, you feel accomplished.
Yeah. But I've been like borrowing little things from everyone. Just like so the way John paints, the way Chris paints, the paint. Like everything's like little things are getting put in and inputted. And then and I would say of the three of us I tend to try more random things
That's definitely true.
more
Yes.
often.
Yeah.
I'll be the guy that's just like, today I'm gonna do this. What happens? Whereas I think more of the other guys are. I have it also because I don't paint in a very structured way. I just kind of like go, and then if it looks weird, I'll like just kind of on the fly try to fix it. And then sometimes it just kind of turns into something. I'm kind of like, if you threw a canvas in front of me, I would just kind of just start putting brushstrokes without even like. It would just kind of turn into something.
Yeah.
Mainly because I just have like with the miniatures, I usually have just like a basic vision, and I'm just like, however I get there, it doesn't matter.
Like, I know, like you said, like some of your projects it hasn't worked out as well, but for a lot of the time, like it's actually like worked in your favor as well, and it's worked so in your favor that you do have a very distinct painting style that's like uniquely yours, which is something I'm kind of jealous about.
Oh, jeez, I think we all do.
Mine's okay. Like mine can be.
Appreciate the compliment, though. Take
Mine's
it.
not as unique. Like a lot of mine's just kind of like not really copied, but like taken from other like professional kind of painters or like what they've. Whereas I never really like fostered my own really like technique. Like a lot of the blending I'm doing isn't that different from what Angel Giraldo is teaching in his books, right? I just kind of unlocked it before I kind of like read his books, but eventually when I saw it, I just kind of like put a little bit more together. I was like, oh, okay, fair enough.
I would say you're like the painting scholar. You spend more time like studying, following the artists, having that encyclopedic memory of who's doing what. You're more that like, I don't know, the guy who's just kind of like studying and but everyone's like when you're not sure how to do something, if you're just, Dave, how do I do this? So he's like, everyone, yeah, because John probably won't explain it well, and
Yeah, if you want a good
Asian parents, just do it.
Our buddy John is the one thing that he is not phenomenal teaching, so to speak, and that's because he does the classic meme about drawing an owl, which is like just start drawing circles and then step 3. Yeah, so
you have to be very good at learning to learn from John, because if you're not constantly asking him why or what, it's tough. Yeah.
Oh yes.
I forgot how much I don't like painting yellow. It's just like kind of finicky.
Yellow is got that issue. Any really light color, yellow especially, has the issue of it's hard to fix when you make a little mistake, or it also comes in a lot of hues. Like it turns green very easily. The color underneath matters a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Try going to bone first and then glazing the yellow on top of that.
Yeah.
Kind of like the way I do reds.
And then highlighting is tough because it's also very white. You need basically off-white or white. Whatever. I don't know. The yellow is tough. That's why I like doing weather. If I'm painting some model, some sort of military thing yellow, I paint, I weather it.
I'll be right back.
Like the orcs, iron jaws that have some yellow on. Yep, been weathered and chipped and whatever. So
Oh yeah.
it hides.
Oh yeah. As always, guys, though, if you want us to cover something specific or you have like a topic you think would be interesting to talk about, let us know. Ah, what colors have I used to make the yellow? Well, not much yet. So far it's the contrast yellow, the bright one. That was it.
Eandon?
Is it Eandon? Yeah. And then I'm just glazing thin. Just got this like fantasy and games yellow I'm putting on top right now. Marduk yellow. But I mean, you could use probably any bright yellow for this. Just gotta kind of be kind of slow and meticulous about it. Wraithbone plus Eandon. Oh. Cool. I don't think I've mixed Oh no, yeah, that's actually exactly what I did, yeah. Eandon yellow contrast over Wraithbone, yeah. 100%. Super nice. I'm just building up the yellow on top of that. I will likely the front actually gives you a better idea what it's actually looking like right now. I will likely use this one, like a soft. This one's called High Key Yellow. It's actually everybody John's favorite color. It's like it's like a bone if you added a little bit of yellow to it. And I'm gonna probably edge or just do some spot highlights with that, and then I'll probably shade the yellow with a bit of red and maybe a little bit of purple, just to tie it to the face and the purple. So we'll see it when it's done. I keep starting more Marvel models before I fully finish the other ones.
Yeah, that's been a bit of my issue with the it's been going on lately. Starting too many
Yeah.
projects.
I got my like huge Team Yankee project I gotta work on too. It's a lot of stuff.
I'm back.
And he's back.
Yeah, this bone scheme, Banshees is tough to keep clean. It's back and forth to fix a little.
Yes, I do have the end of April to finish my Team Yankee. And April's going way too quickly right now. My big issue is I'm not actually at the store as much, and with everything that's going on. And I still have airbrushing to do on my stuff before I can work on it, so yikes. I'm hoping to do some airbrushing on Saturday.
Better coming early.
I know, right? Yeah, exactly. There's stuff going on, so that was the plan. Or stay late.
Or stay late, yeah.
Well, I don't know how well that's going to go over with the wife, but we'll see.
Who can you pin the blame on that she'll believe?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
It was Mike's fault. He came in and God or something, I don't know.
The other problem with the Team Yankee is the infantry that I have in my army are like camouflage.
Oof.
So they're not like a simple like green or something.
Oh,
so
I can show you how to. It's really easy.
Oh, yeah?
Actually, my Twitch VODs, because I did it for Dave Gill's army. Remember?
I definitely want some suggestions then, because
Well, it's on my channel's videos on TikTok.
Congruyen, yeah, okay.
Yeah. It's actually a lot easier than you think. It's just figuring out what layers the color go on.
Right.
Still a lot of tiny little mans.
Like I'm grateful that it's small at least, so it's
You just have to do dots, luckily.
yeah, basically. So, but it's going to be a challenge for sure. Of course, I have to go and make like a big army list instead of just like some tanks, you know.
Was being a hero.
I blame Craig because he like gave me all these really good suggestions on how to make an army. It's Craig's fault.
Maybe he's gonna get a P tunings or whatever. That's why he's.
I forget if way back I think we airbrushed his chieftain tanks. I'm trying to remember if we airbrushed the camouflage on them or not.
You're cutting in and out, Chris.
I'm cutting in and out? Oh.
Maybe it's me, I don't know.
There's a bit of robo from him. Yeah.
My internet might be dipping a little bit. Let me know if it continues and we'll end early.
Maybe it's just a distance from the mic thing, I don't know. See if it's like picking up from...
Yeah, I'm surprised there haven't been a bunch of side bets going on about whether or not I'm going to be paying. I mean, Zimmer hasn't done much either, so I mean, there's that.
I mean, he's been building a lot of his stuff, and I think he got airbrushing recently. So.
Yeah, but Zimmer's great at starting a project. Yeah. It's really the finishing part that...
I mean, he wants your money.
He does,
Yeah.
He does, yeah.
Yeah, he does, yeah.
He doesn't just want my money. He wants me to bleed a little bit because he was like very specific about not getting store credit or whatever. He had to be cash or whatever.
Yeah. Yep. And this is why hobby groups are good, because
Exactly.
Yeah.
push each other to get things done.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
I totally wouldn't be painting that right now, but you know, fire under my ass. I got to do it. So.
And here you are painting MODOK.
And now I'm painting MODOK on stream. That's right. I figured if I had 3 or 4 videos of me painting a chieftain tank, people would start to get upset. I don't know.
True, yeah.
Don't worry, I'll bring the cat back next.
I know, that's right. Yeah, everyone misses the cat. Don't worry, it's coming back.
Can we name it Misty?
After Chris's loud cat, yeah, sure.
Okay, when are we gonna get Misty on the show, Chris?
Craig, did we airbrush your chieftains though? I can't remember because I was actually thinking of airbrushing the camo on them, but I wasn't sure if we had done that or not.
12 links helicopters, he says.
Oh, 12 links is holy cow. That's
Just
power
a
right there.
Adepticon.
It's a lot of Milans coming at you.
Oh, guess.
Although Zimmer does have, I think, his NATO guys airbrushed fully in camo, so he's already ahead of me. Not good.
Oh, I just found his gun, finally. I just found out where this motorcycle stores his gun. He just hugs it.
Oh.
It's like underneath, basically.
Oh, interesting. We'll probably go for another couple minutes and then
Yep.
call it.
Yeah, I'm pretty done with just.
Thanks
highlighting
for
gray.
tuning in, guys. And the one thing that's coming up soon is we should reach our affiliate status this week. And if you guys are Amazon Prime subscribers or you subscribe to Twitch, you can actually hit us with some sort of special like, and that gives us a bit of money and support for what we're doing. So if you want to do that, we appreciate it. If you have any buddies that might want to get something out of this, you can always share with them that we're doing this as well. That helps us as well. You're very welcome. And yeah, if you have any ideas for topics or whatever, let us know, or suggestions for the show. We're still learning, and we want to make it good. So. Get most of this done, the yellow at least. Probably next I gotta basically put another highlight on the yellow here, and then the purple needs a little bit of work, and then a little bit of highlighting on the hair, and he's done.
That's good. What are you shading that yellow with?
I'm gonna do a little bit of red and a little bit of purple.
Nice.
I've got some contrast red here that I used on the purple already. And I got some, I don't even know what, you get the wet palette going, you have like random purple, you don't even know where it came from.
Oh, yeah.
I've got some random purple here that I'll be using to shade it as well, so.
Well, that's the best part about painting at this, or at our level of understanding now, right? Like the exact color doesn't really matter anymore.
No.
Right? You just kind of use whatever purple that you found, because you know generically, like, this is fine for the color to shade with.
I was painting
Yeah, it
tonight
depends
with my Artist Opus #2. Very good brush. Very happy with
I
it.
just assume Chris only uses or owns like 15 of them.
15 what, sorry?
Those #2s or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Like I can see him
What was I
just.
using?
I can just see him reach for his brush and be like, "Oh, yeah, that's just a bunch of 2s or whatever."
You're
Using
not-
Raphael 1.
You're not wrong. That's why I was super
That was
excited
awesome.
about Red Grass Games. Their #2 is also really nice. Actually find it to be a really good like base coating brush. I do a lot of my like busy work with it because it's actually a little bigger than the other 2s. And even when it's
Yeah.
dying and beaten up, it's still actually holding its
Mhm.
general shape pretty well. And as always, guys, we're still open technically, so you can place your orders through the website, email, Facebook. Give us a call between 12 and 5 every day. We're not sure what our next stream day will be, but for sure every Thursday we're trying to do right now. So you guys take care. You guys want to say anything before we're out?
No. See you next time.
Peace out.
And you guys can follow Dave. Does occasional Twitch streaming on Congruyen as well, so give him a follow. Take care, everybody. Have a good night.
Bye.